The query method returns a cursor, which is exactly the same object returned by Android's SQLite database class. So, in the onPostExecute method, you now have access to a cursor object. Cursors are iterators that provide read-write access to the data of a content provider. The data is in a tabular format, as shown here. If you haven't worked with cursors before, you can head over to the SQL Databases lesson, which is linked below. For the data in this database, there are only 3 columns: word, definition, and ID. I've also only drawn out a few rows, so this data looks manageable. But what if your database had hundreds of rows, and what if each term had 20 columns of data associated with it? It can be costly to get all of this information if the database is hundreds of rows long and has 20 columns. And that's where these parameters come in. These null parameters, when they are not null, relate to what is known as the projection, selection, selection arguments, and sort order of the data returned by the query function. These arguments mirror the different parts of a query statement in SQL. A projection in SQL is used to narrow down the number of columns returned, such as only getting the word. A selection along with the selection arguments are used to narrow down the number of rows returned based on some criteria. For example, only selecting terms that start with the letter A. And the sort order determines the order you get the data back in, for example, sorting alphabetically. In general, when you pass in null, it means no sorting and grab everything. If you want to see code examples of how to use these constraints, check the notes below. But for your toy app, you won't need these because you'll be working with all of the information in the content provider.